Hello, this is Natalie Callback, and I'm here with MaryBeth Shaw. I'm super excited. She is another year. I don't even know how many years she has been already on Creative Jumpstart, but it has been many, many times because she's awesome. So here's MaryBeth Shaw. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, MaryBeth Shaw, and introduce yourself?
I do. I'm a mixed media artist, and I came from a kind of a corporate background. I worked in the insurance industry for many years, and then hit the wall and quit and started painting, which was just kind of out of nowhere. It was very unexpected, and that was, oh my gosh, 18 years ago,
Wow.
and never looked back. And I started a stencil company called Stencil Girl Products, and and now I have just recently opened an online education site called Stencil Girl Studio. So, yeah, it's all stencils all the time.
That's so cool. Of course, I'm totally biased because I'm one of the stencil girl designers. So I'm super excited to be part of the family. I think for 5 years now. I think my first stencils came out with you guys in 2013.
Yes, you were one of the beginning, I mean, one of the earlier
Earlier, maybe,
artists
yeah.
with us. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, super fun. And I love it. And also, as you might see, I can see this gorgeous painting behind Mary Beth Shaw, and I can tell it's her handwriting right on there, her signature style of beautiful texture and abstract. So if you
Thank
don't know
you.
her, check out her amazing artwork too. So we want to talk a little bit today about several things, but one of the main things, the theme for Creative Jumpstart for 2019 is My Home is My Castle. And so I don't know if our listeners know that every year I give the artists a theme, and then they have time to make a 10 to 15-minute video. And it's pretty loose the way how I sent the theme. I say a couple words, what I'm like, what could that entitle? My home is my castle. It could be in this case something that is like, your personal home. It could be something, your country. It could be I don't know, your personal state. There's all kinds of ways how we can define what home means to us, right? So
Yes,
it's
definitely.
it's a very personal question, but Mary Beth, do you have like a real thought of what home actually means to you?
I do. And, I was thinking about it because I figured you'd probably ask this question. And I almost have a split personality because there's a part of me that my home definitely is my castle, and I like to have it a certain way, and it's really artsy and it's very eclectic. And luckily my husband is eclectic too. And
Mm.
so we have our home filled with all the things that we love and that make us happy. And they don't necessarily all go together, but they do for us. So it's our castle. But then I
Exactly.
also have the same thought, or a different thought, that home is inside of me and where I happen to be moving around, because I've moved a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I also travel a lot and teach like you do. We're on the run quite frequently, and so I, you know, when I'm in that travel mode and when I'm out and about, that's kind of my home on
Mm-hmm.
a temporary basis until I get back to my real home. And so I don't know. So a part of me thinks that home is just wherever I am too.
I
So.
totally agree. I think I have the same streak as you, that I feel like I carry my home in a way with me. And that's why I
Mhm.
love to, because I also moved like you a ton of times, even as a child or
Mhm.
teenager. And part of it was always like making the new place your home. So you just
Mhm.
like adjust. If you're okay with yourself, you adjust. You find a way to like your surroundings, or wherever you are. I feel like if you're kind of grounded and happy where you are, then that will work out, right? So
I
that's
agree.
interesting.
I definitely agree. And I think you said that word grounding. For me, that's a key component in the idea of home. And and I know when I'm out, flying around, traveling, and then I come home, and it is definitely a grounding for me. It's, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I go out and teach, it takes a lot out of me.
Yeah.
It's like I love it so much, and I get filled up with inspiration from my students, but it also depletes me at the same time. It's this dual thing. So then when I come home, it's kind of like, back into my space, and
it's kind of like an extrovert thing. I always feel like that when someone asks me, are you an extrovert or an introvert person? And I'm actually both. Like when I teach, I'm very extrovert, but then you should not see me at home. I can go, if my husband is not there, I can go for 3 days not talking to anyone and feel perfectly fine. And if I come back from teaching, I will sit down and he will be like, how was it? And I'm like, shh.
I am exactly the same way. Before I started teaching, I did the outdoor art fairs. So we used to travel around and do these weekend art fairs. And, you're there set up, sitting in a tent with all your art. And for 3 days, usually just talking to people nonstop about your art. And we would drive home. John would drive me home, and I'd be like, zipped up, man. You just don't even talk to me because I need some inner kind of reflective time. So, yeah, I know. I would describe myself as an introvert, and people are always surprised by that. They're like, well, you're so outgoing. Well, yeah, I am, but I have that other side too, definitely. Yeah.
That's interesting. I heard that from a couple of our peers, and I wonder if that's like something that you just have to have when you teach, that you're like, okay, I can deal with it, and I have fun being outside with people and engaging and be inspired and all that. But then I also need this kind of hermit time where I just gather back my strength and get back to things. And actually, even if I just travel, it's the same thing. I love traveling. And I go nuts and I want to explore everything, but then I can come home and be like in my jammies for 4 days, No, I'm just exaggerating.
No, I completely get that, because that's like me too. I am totally like that. I love to travel too, but then when I get home, I just love to be home. So
right.
I always, I don't know, I probably shouldn't say this in a recording, but I'm going to anyway. I've been married a few times. Okay, so my marriage with John, we're getting ready to celebrate our 25th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
I know. So in like 6 weeks. But anyway, my second marriage, he used to call me Sybil, like as in multiple personalities. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So there you go. You learned it here first. Craziness.
I know.
Yeah, but no, we do. We all have these different sides of our personality, and I think as artists, we have to go inside in order to explore new ideas and new techniques, and I don't know, kind of even taking stock of where we are at any given time.
Yeah, because I think like the way how a lot of us do their artwork, or I'm sure especially you two, it's like there is a lot of your inner self coming out there. I mean, not like, I don't want to get like all esoteric or whatever, but there is a lot of that goes into art journaling, or when you paint abstract, I feel there's a lot of stuff that you kind of like put out there that might be not like open for everyone to decipher, but that's not actually what you're striving for anyway. I mean, I always feel like when you ask what does the artist mean with it, that's interesting, you want to know. On the other hand, it's more about like what you viewer see in it, when your own stuff going on that will like how you interpret it, right?
Right. I love to know how people interpret my pieces. It's very interesting to me. Yeah.
Me too.
I usually put some clues in there, But then I don't want to make the decision for anyone. I like for them to draw their own meaning based on their own experiences too.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's the part that is the most exciting part. Although it does tick me off sometimes when I go to the museum and I'm like, "Come on, guys, you could have put a little bit more information out here." It's especially I think like it depends on especially with contemporary art or modern art. Sometimes it's like, what's the context of when it was done, or that's important, and then you might be still like 100 million times years off of what actually was like, but it makes it kind of easier to understand or to get a grasp of it. So we were talking about that you travel a ton to teach, and I know that you go with Stencil Girl on a lot of trips and bring your amazing stencils around to show them. And so when you travel, do you have, I know we talked about like having, your own home, but do you have like rituals when you travel that make you feel kind of at home, or something that makes you like feel grounded or home, or?
No.
There goes that. Next question.
No, I would, I think in my dream world, I'd love to be one of these people that goes into the hotel room and puts a candle next to the bedside and has this atmosphere that follows me around. But I just never get to it. I'm always rushing at the last minute, and I'm always lucky to get my luggage packed and under. I don't know. I'd love to be one of those people, but I'm just not. I am just not. I carry things in my head. I have practices that follow me around. So I do meditate.
Okay,
So I do a daily meditation to try to, be calmed and grounded in whatever space I'm in. But as far as bringing possessions, I never get to it. I always want to. And I always admire people that do. And I'm just not one of them.
I don't do it. I don't think I do it either. Maybe it's more like when you travel for, like, if it's a longer trip and it's overseas, that I have like something that's like comfy, like a comfy something to wear. But I'm not a ritual person either. I also don't really do art a lot when I am traveling. I know that a lot of people do that. I don't know. How about you? Are you like a plain sitting in a plane art journaling person, or is that a thing that you?
No, I'm sitting on a plane watching a Netflix show.
Yeah, me too.
That I've downloaded to my iPad. I know. When I do travel for pleasure.
Yeah.
I bring an art journal and supplies that I set up. I set up a little place in my room that I work, but I don't do that. I don't do that if I'm working, and I don't do it on the plane typically.
I have the same thing. If it's for work or if it's in the plane, I'm not very good at it. It's kind of like, now I want to see a movie and then I will sleep, and I don't want to. I feel, I don't know, there's something about this that it's, in order to feel like a living room, it needs to be a movie. Like, I admire people. I know our friend Julie Pfeiffer Balzer, for example. I know she does like all kinds of cool arts and stuff when she's flying, and I'm always like, I don't know how she does it. Like, and I was just sitting on a flight back from California, and I saw this like teenage girl working in her coloring book, and every 2 minutes one of her pencils fell down in the aisle, and it was like a big commotion to get the pencil back. And I was always thinking like, that would be me.
That would be me too. Because honestly, I have. Back in the beginning days of my art journaling, I did try to travel with it, and I try to bring little things, and I just could never get it organized. I always was like in the middle seat, and I'm like sitting here like this, or, something that was just like, I just couldn't make it happen. So finally I just said, you know what? The plane is just going to be a different time for me. And so I usually download something I've been wanting to watch on Netflix, or I'll sleep. And that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the same thing. That's so funny. It's funny to hear that. I should ask more people if they do, traveling or not.
Yeah.
There must be more than us.
I know. And I even have this little pocket, the zipper pocket thing, little sewing things, little tiny sewing things. I carry that thing with me all the time, and I don't think I've unzipped it in probably 8 months. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. It's like, really, MaryBeth, why do you even go through the charade of carrying it with
That
you?
is so funny. I don't know. I was actually thinking about it too, because I did a little bit more embroidery stuff, and I really enjoyed it, and also enjoyed like just doing it in front of the TV. It's kind of like, I feel like I can do something, but I can still follow, the movie or whatever of the show, and not getting too enthralled in one or the other. But I somehow think I also won't be able to do that on a plane. I think I will either stab someone's eye out with the needle, or I don't know, lose it and then what?
I know. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Too funny.
So do you have an idea? So this is very early that we actually record this interview. Creative Jumpstart, the announcement, and the video is probably airing, in December. But we're here in sweltering 96 or whatever Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And it's summer. So gotta start early. But have you already thought about kind of what you're going to do? No?
Are you out of your mind?
Yes.
You know me. I am like, this is so sad to say, but I'm a last minute girl. And, I mean, I won't wait like all the way to the last minute, but I'll probably wait until like the last week maybe.
Yeah.
And, but what I've found, I've rationalized this, okay? So one of the things that works for me best in the last minute is my brain gets out of the way.
Yeah.
And I just start working, and things show up and things happen. And that has honestly become part of my process. It's not to say I won't think about it between now and then, but I'll probably have some loose idea of where I'm going, and then I'll just start. And my process always rewards me that way. When I give myself the freedom to just play and see where it goes, that's when my best stuff happens. If I give myself some rigid guidelines or a strict idea of what I need to do, oh my gosh, I'll just fall apart. I'll be starting over 5 or 6 times, and I have to get my brain out of the way. It took me a long time to learn that.
Yeah, it's funny. It depends on what I'm doing, but I just had the same thing. So I'm having new stencils. Well, it will be past when you see that, but they're coming out tomorrow.
Yes,
and,
they are.
So MaryBeth and John and Frank, they actually always send those stencils way ahead of when your actual release day is. And then you have a deadline to give them some of the artwork that goes with the stencils for the release. So guess when I start doing these things? About a week before the deadline, right?
Yeah. The same thing happens with me. Carol Baxter, my assistant, says to me, well, I'm waiting for art from you too. And I'm like, what for? Really? Why? And she said, those stencils you're coming out? I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'm the same way. I'm just the same way.
And it's funny because it used to be like when I don't know why it is, but there's something when I have the new products, like they're your own and you're excited to try them. But on the other hand, there was a whole creative process of making them, of creating the patterns, and then it feels kind of like I need a little break from this particular thing, and then it has to sit again before I can go back and totally indulge in them. I know it sounds weird, right?
No, I kind of get it, because it is like a different, designing them is one part, and then, but actually like, oh wow, now I got these great designs. What did I think I was gonna do?
Exactly. What was I thinking?
What was I thinking? You know, I mean, it is funny. So,
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So excited to have you again, MaryBeth. I can't wait to see what you're doing, your magic. Last year, I love your stuff every year. I'm always like excited. It's always fun. Whether you're playing with oil sticks or you have always great ideas. And there's always stencils somehow.
There's always, I always manage to fit a stencil in there. No, I love to play, and I love Creative Jumpstart because of their little like shorter versions than some of the other things going on, and I find them to just be packed with inspiration. Because for me, the timing is just perfect. When I watch them, I get all excited, and then then I can run off and do it myself, you know. So I love that too. I think it's genius.
And it's fun because a lot of you teachers, I know that you and others that love to actually really watch it, and then they're like, oh, that's so fun because it gives us some, you know, triggers again, and you're like, oh my god, if whether it be maybe even a technique you know and you kind of have forgotten, or whether it be like a new art supply that all of a sudden needs to be bought and tried, right? So I always think it is amazing to kind of like get your own inspiration and little kick because it's short and sweet.
Yep, definitely.
Thank you so much, MaryBeth, and I hope to see you soon, also in person. Thanks for being part of Creative Jumpstart, and bye.
Bye.